to Wellness Wizards. Today we have a big treat. We will be interviewing the Honorable Rob Wilkins. Before we introduce him, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and please watch till the end.
All right, so I am so excited about this interview and introducing the Honorable Rob Wilkins. You are a retired Air Force Master Sergeant and were in the military for 26 years. In the Air Force, appointed by 2 U.S. presidents to the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition, a military liaison for the International Fitness and Bodybuilding Federation, and you are now the senior editor of Muscle and Fitness Fit to Serve series.
That's correct, yes.
So many other accolades, and we're so excited to have you here. And I was totally blown away. We met at the American College of Lifestyle Medicine conference, where you were a speaker over there, and was completely blown away. So welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
This is the interview. I've had a number of them recently, but I've been waiting for this one because I know that I'm going to get some tough questions here, but we're also going to have some fun. So I'm looking forward to it. So let's get started.
Let's get started. So actually, before we start, we're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker.
Okay.
An icebreaker. Okay, so we're going to do a game called Two Truths and a Lie. And have you played this before?
I have not.
You haven't. Okay. All right. So everybody needs to tell two truths about themselves and a lie, including yourself.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And so you're going to have to guess for us which one is the false statement, and we will need to guess for you. Okay?
Me.
You want to go first? Okay. So what are your truths and a lie?
I came face to face with the shark underwater. I went down the longest slide in the world. And I got a surgery to remove my appendix.
Ooh. I would say coming face to face with the shark was not true.
Wrong.
Oh,
It is. I had a surgery to remove my appendix.
oh, good one. How did you come face to face with the shark?
We went snorkeling at the coral reef in Australia, and there happened to be a shark there that we actually came next to.
Oh,
No,
how was
wait.
that? Was that an exciting experience, or were you scared, or were you excited, or I mean,
I
that's pretty amazing.
scared, so I swam further this way.
Right.
Well, everybody just stayed there.
Yeah, there were half the people were fascinated and half the people were terrified.
Yeah.
I was in the terrified group.
I'm gonna go next.
Okay.
Here's some good ones. I cracked my skull open. I went to a country where everybody is required to serve in the military, and I broke a window playing volleyball.
I would say breaking a window playing volleyball is not true.
Correct. You actually got that one. And I did crack my skull open.
Right. Well, thank you. Those were great, but gotcha. I'm 1 for 1. Let's go. Mom's a tiebreaker.
Okay, all right. Okay, so let's see. So I used to run cross country in high school. I broke my wrist when I fell off a horse. And I tore a ligament in my knee while dancing.
You've had some rough experiences there. I would say tearing the ligament while dancing. Because if you did all those other things, I would think dancing would be easy. So tearing a ligament while dancing just seems like you're too coordinated, too strong for that to happen. So
Well, that's what actually did happen. I did tear
oh,
my ACL while dancing. But it was a dance that required some sticks, and so my partner hit my knee really hard and my leg.
that's not fair because you didn't give me the tip about the
Yeah,
sticks.
I know. That was an unfair advantage. Okay, so we are ready for yours now.
Okay, so my 3. While speaking with President Biden about physical fitness, he punched me in the arm and said, "That guy is really solid." Um, while living in Italy, I got to play basketball on the island of Sardinia against other professional semi-pro teams, which was really great. And third, while in the Middle East, the chef that we had for our unit got sick. And since no one else knew how to cook, I had to cook for 50 people. Which one of those is not true?
That's really
The
tough.
last one.
The first one.
I'm gonna go with the first one too.
The last one. I did not cook for anyone. And this is 2024. So in 2022, I was at the White House for the 4th of July celebration, and the
Huh.
president came around and we were talking about physical fitness and sports and health. And then he just punched me in the arm and he goes, "Boy, you're solid." And everybody's looking at him. And I'm thinking, "Well, I just got punched by the president."
That's
But then at the same time, he challenged me. He says, "I'm counting on you to get our country moving and get everybody in shape." So I thought, how cool was that? And my wife and son and a number of my friends were there,
yeah.
and we were all looking at you there because no one else got punched, just me. So it was, it was a great experience. And speaking to the president, it was no matter what party you're from, it's just an honor. And to be appointed by two different presidents from different parties, it's
Yes.
just an incredible honor. So, um,
And
so
you're on the
Neil, you were correct.
Trump. You were on the council with President Trump and President Biden, so
Yes,
that's
yes.
that's huge to be kind of, I mean, there's such a huge political divide, and to be able to be on both sides is pretty incredible.
That's
Um,
right. So I have there's three pillars in our country that I think brings us together. It's sports, it's music, and it's food. And
yeah,
if you can kind of get people to agree on one, if anything, those three things, you can probably get them to agree on a sport they like, or
yeah.
a meal they like, or even art. I think sometimes, people might not like the same art, but there's a good discussion that comes with art. So I'm looking for ways to bring people together, and those are the things that I find that work.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we're looking forward to learning from you about how you do what you do. So,
Sure.
so one of the things that you had talked about in the conference was about how 23% of prime military age, group, the 17 to 24 years, is eligible to serve in the military. That
Yes.
77% isn't. So can you talk more about that and why they're not eligible to serve?
Sure. So great question. I think the number, while it's 23%, it really goes down to about 11% because out of that 23%, 12% are in college or have a job that they enjoy. So they already you exclude them from service because they're already finding something that brings them joy or they're already occupied. So now you have 11%. Out of that 11%, those who really think as the military as a job option goes down to 9%. So the reason that there's so few is because first, it's obesity, lack of physical activity, issues probably with the law, maybe some problems with their grades, and the military is working on solutions to fix these problems. But also, I think that the military is no longer in the communities. So, for example, going back to World War II, most Americans knew somebody who served, be it their mom, their dad, their uncle, their milkman, their banker. Well, now it's about 0.5% serve. Most Americans don't see someone in uniform,
Yeah.
and military installations, at least on a daily basis, that is, and most military bases, which were in the neighborhoods where the military man or woman was a coach or a person who worked in the local community, they're no longer there. So as the bases shut down, there's been a reduction in the military. They're just not in your life. They're just not visible as much as they have been in the past. And so we're looking at ways to try to correct that and maybe try to bring people who live in neighborhoods closer to bases. So for an example, like when you were ready to go to college, you went on college visits. Maybe for those military recruits who are considering the military, we take them to military installations, meet men and women who serve, show them the facilities and show them what military life is like. Just again, like you do a Division I athlete or any kind of college athlete or scholar who's looking at a specific university to attend.
So basically, like, try and show them the bases and show them how cool it could be to be in the military and try and sort of convince them to join.
You're hired. You have it. You got it in a nutshell. That's what we're trying to do. Yes.
My grandpa was in the military.
Yeah.
Yes. And back years ago, this was very common that most people had someone in the military who served, but it's becoming less and less common now. So it's becoming more and more difficult for folks to have an example in their personal lives or in their families who served. So there's not much we can do about that now, but we're working on issues and ways to bring the military to the communities to introduce young our youth, 17 and 24, to America's greatest team, which is the U.S. military.
What are the requirements to be able to serve in the military?
So basically, a great question, Neil. I would think there are many different requirements, and what I'll do, I'll send you guys links so that you can see what they are officially, but a lot of it has to do with your personal character and your integrity, meaning like you're not in trouble with the law, that you can pass the physical fitness requirements, that you feel that you're qualified to serve our country through different mechanisms, and that it's a very tough and demanding job. It's not for everybody. But once you meet these qualifications and attend basic training and graduate basic training, you will be ready to serve our country. But for more specifics, I'm going to send you the links because each service has a few different requirements. So I only know about the Air Force, but again, with the information I'll send you, you'll be able to help anybody who's thinking about joining the military.
Okay.
What about, well, just kind of on a follow-up of that question, for the Air Force, since that was where you had served, what are the physical fitness requirements for that?
Based on your height, there's weight standards. So once you go to have your physical, the physician or the med tech will give you will give you the physical, and then they'll figure out how much you weigh. Now, if you are overweight, they might give you a few extra weeks or months to prepare yourself to get physically fit to get within standards, because serving in the military is a very demanding job, mentally and physically. And if you're out of shape, you might not be able to keep up. And you can also hurt yourself. You can become sick. And if you're sick and hurt, you're not able to work with your team. You know, everyone has a specific role on their team to do. And if you're not there, that means everyone else has to pick up more work or a bigger load. So we're trying to make sure that those who serve in our military are fit to serve. And physical fitness is really, really important to national security and military readiness. So those requirements are, again, being able to probably run a mile within a certain amount of time, doing a certain amount of push-ups and crunches within a certain amount of time, and falling within the weight range of weight to height ratios.
Okay, so like you said, a certain amount of people are only eligible, but then some of them don't even want to do it. Do you
Right.
think that the requirement should be lowered so that more people are eligible?
Great question. I think they should not, because it's such a demanding, such a tough job. Just like your mom is a world-class doctor. If you think because of all the things that she does, should she lower her standards, or should standards be lowered so that she can qualify for something? Think about all the hands and all the people that she's been able to make better, maybe save lives. If she did not meet those certain standards, some of those folks may not have made it. So just like with our military and firefighters and teachers, we need them to be at the higher standards because we count on them to teach us, to protect us, to educate us. And so the higher the standards, the better off we all are. So I do not agree with lowering the standards.
Okay. Also, I heard that wars are being fought with drones. Does that mean like some people don't have to be physically fit, they just have to be good at video games? Because you can achieve the same thing by flying a drone.
Well, you know, that is something that the military is considering. People who are gamers, there could be specific career fields where, because of their hand-eye coordination and the way their brains operate, that might be a good job for them. But part of the military is also our appearance. When our adversaries see us, we want them to be afraid that when they see us, they see a fit, strong fighting force, not folks that they think look soft or out of shape or not organized. That's why our uniforms have to be impeccable. That's why there's hair standards. That's why there's weight standards. And as you see, many of the military men and women, their shoes, you know, depending on what kind of shoes they're having, there's shine to the utmost. And, you know, you have our special forces and you have our old guard here in Washington, D.C., that when you see them, you say, that is the best of the best. And how can I be a part of that?
Okay.
That makes sense, right? Have you
Yeah.
seen, have you like looked when we were in the airports? I mean, I remember when we were flying just last week, I saw a bunch of people in uniform in the airport in Denver.
Well, those are wrestlers.
No, what are you
They
talking about?
literally said on them.
No, I'm not talking about the wrestlers that were on the plane. I'm talking about people in the airport that were walking around and they were wearing their military uniforms.
Was it blue?
There were some people wearing blue and there were some people wearing khaki uniforms, and they had really shiny shoes and they were like standing up straight, and you know, like nobody was slouching, nobody was
Were they really
overweight.
tall? Because there were blue guys standing up really straight, and their patch on them said wrestlers.
No, I'm not talking about the wrestlers. We had a whole wrestling team on our plane. That's totally different. Okay, next time I'm gonna point out so you can pay attention to that.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Neal, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Why are you always asking me that?
Because you're listening very nicely.
You've already asked so many questions to us about him. So
Yeah,
why don't
you were
ask
asking us.
him?
He had all these questions that he wanted to ask you. Now he's kind of.
In the past, how many people met the standards to get into the military? You said that 23% are fit enough to serve in the military.
He even went down as low as 9%.
Do you think the percentage will go up, down, or stay the same?
Neal, you are asking a really, really impactful question. And that's a question we need to get our members of Congress and our business and community leaders to be a part of that solution as well. My goal is to make it bigger. We want a bigger pool of recruits to recruit from. So the more people who are eligible, it's not only good for the military, but it's also good for law enforcement. It's good for firefighters. It's good for teachers. It's good for big business, because those who qualify for the military because of their physical fitness standards are also make great firefighters. They make great police officers, but they also make great workers at a company, because that means they're coming to work. They're healthy enough to be there. They're productive. They're engaged. As you know, many people might not feel well. So when they go to work, there's a term called presentism, which means they just basically sit on their computer and they're not productive. They're not doing anything. And so when people are healthy and energized and excited about life, they come to work and they get things done. So I think that the more that we can raise that number, it's not only good for us who serve in the military or serve our country, it's also good for your mom's career field, healthcare. You know, the healthier someone is, the lower their healthcare costs come, the less time they spend at the doctor. And so that's another thing that we're trying to do, to get people to be in better shape so that they don't have to see the doctor as often as they did in the past, but maybe just for checkups and just making sure that everything is okay. So, but great question.
That's the dream.
Okay, just one thing. So, do you think it'll go up or down?
I think it's going to go up because I believe in America. So I think that we will get better.
Okay, and what do you think the best thing kids our age should do to prepare and be more physically fit so that the number just doesn't go down, to make sure that it doesn't go down?
Sure. So I think children like yourselves, like you and me, are leaders, and leaders make things happen. And so what I would assume, or what I encourage you to do, is find friends and people in your neighborhood that like the things you like. Is it riding a bike? Is it walking? Is it playing tic-tac-toe or jumping rope? But encourage them to be with you. So there's a few things that happen with this. Besides the exercise you're getting social connection. You're getting to laugh together and have fun. Kids like to play sports and be physically active for physical activity, but they also like to have fun. And so by doing these activities, you get to learn about others, you get to have a great time, you get to be physically fit, and you'll inspire and encourage those around you to be part of your group. So if you know some kids who might not come outside, you might want to think about knocking on their door and saying, come on out here and join us, because we're having a great time.
Okay. And I have a friend that lives close by here, and she almost every day goes to our school, and she goes there and plays around the play structures and runs around the place. And I sometimes go with her if I'm not doing like something, and I go with her and we go play around the school. And we have a big yard area, so we can run around like everywhere. Yeah, so
Well, that's great. And I'm going to tell you a secret. A lot of people don't know this. Kids who work out do better in school. Kids who work out have higher grades. You know why? Because you're getting a fresh blood coming to your brain. So that fresh blood helps push through the toxins and things out of your body, and it just makes you feel like alive and passionate, and it helps you retain the information that you're learning from your teacher. So there have been studies done that some kids, especially when they take chemistry and algebra and stuff, if they have a physical fitness class or gym class prior to those classes, their scores over a period of time have improved without anything else changing. They didn't change their sleep. They haven't changed their diet. The only thing they did was stimulate their brain through exercise. And those children or those youth became better students. In some cases, they became so good they were able to challenge the world standards on math and science. So for a school that might have been registering at a low level, through a period of time, maybe 6 months to 2 years, they improved so much that they became now worthy of competing on a world stage for math, science, and English.
That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Now you do. Now you can share that message.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, something that I've noticed a lot with my patients is that, even the patients that I have that are really high achieving in their grades also do really well in sports. So they're involved with sports. So, I mean, there's definitely something about that. I think it also gives it gives discipline. It gives that discipline to be able to, kind of focus well on all the things that you need to do. So there are a lot of benefits to exercise, not just the, making your muscles strong and being physically fit, but it really does contribute to your mental and emotional fitness. Yeah. So it's all one big package.
And I have a friend, Christy Ingram. Christy did research for Ernst & Young, and she found that 94% of young women or women who are on the C-suite, meaning they're leaders in the business community, have a sports background. So if you want to probably provide yourself an opportunity to become a boss, a president, a CEO, play sports, because during your lessons, engaged in sports, you learn about discipline, you learn about dedication, you learn about focus, you learn about teamwork, you learn about commitment, you learn about conflict resolution, you learn how to lose with grace and win with dignity. So these are all great things that you learn in the business world that you learn on the pitch, on the field, or on the court.
Yeah, so I played volleyball for 8 weeks when the season in our school, and there was this thing after the game, no matter who won or lose, you both line up at one side of the net, one starts at this side, and another starts at this side, and you all walk with your hand like this, and you all give each other high fives as you walk, and then you say to everybody. Doesn't matter if you won or lose. And
Right. That's great sportsmanship.
I played trumpet.
But you also played volleyball.
And trumpet.
That's true. Now he's into trumpet, but they were on the same volleyball team together. Well, so I mean, kind of on that note, you had mentioned in your article, in your muscle and fitness article, the most recent one, about how there are barriers, how a lot of children have barriers to being able to exercise, like don't necessarily have a place to go and run around, or a place to, a place to ride their bicycle. There might not be a safe area around them to be able to do these activities. So what kind of things do you suggest to those kids that aren't, in kind of set up in that situation where they can get that physical exercise right then and there?
So the under-resourced areas, it's very, very tough for them, but it's not impossible, because depending on where you're at, you might be able to, YouTube has so many fascinating videos. So if you type in YouTube and exercise at home, you might find things that you can do with weight-bearing exercise. You don't need equipment, but maybe you'll walk in place. I often call they're called commercial ups. So when I'm watching a television show and a commercial comes on, which is usually about a 2-minute span, I can do crunches, jumping jacks, push-ups, or a walk in place to keep my physical activity up, to keep my metabolism up. So, sometimes people are always looking for ways or time to exercise. Well, then you utilize the time. If you're not going to be doing anything and you're just sitting there on the couch, you might as well use that commercial break to do your exercise and get some physical activity going. So you might be able to, depending on how big your house is or your rooms are, you might be able to do jumping rope. You might be able to just stand up and run in place, or whatever you can do to keep your body moving. I know it's more difficult for some, but there's always something that you can do. And encourage your friend to do it with you as possible. That way you'll have more fun and make it a competition, because people like to compete against each other.
There are also community resources as well. Like I remember when I was training, I did my intern year in the Bronx, and there was this community center that was giving out Wii's to kids. So
what is
Wii? It's like a video game. I think it's a Nintendo. I'm not really sure, but it's
for
a video
free?
game. But then you can, yeah. Well, it was like a rented kind of thing that they could use those, and then so it was like they had tennis and like different sports. So you were at least running around and you were active. A lot of people would say, I don't really feel safe being out in some areas. So then that was something that they were providing for them. So
Right.
I think
Right. And again, it's important. That's why we need community leaders, elected officials, business communities to say, here's what we can provide to you. Here's how we can help you. Because I often feel we're going to pay one way or another. We pay now by providing the resources. We provide the guidance and the support that youth need, or we pay later when they end up in trouble, where they need help, or we have to support them in the law enforcement system or in jail. So I think there's a stat that the World Health Organization says for every $1 that we put toward physical activity or improving our wellness and health, we save $4. So it's important that we save that money by making that investment now.
How do you convince kids to want to be healthy and fit?
Well, Neal, I think, what do you do to stay healthy and fit? Because that's a great question. And one of the reasons why I ask you what you think is because I was at a seminar once and we asked youth we told them what we wanted to do to make them healthy and fit. And one of them said, if it's about us, include us. Meaning for any solution or any problem we have, you should ask my opinion or ask the people that we're trying to help what they think about physical fitness or improving themselves. So based on your question, I'm going to turn it around and go back to you. What do you think we should do to help encourage youth to be more physically active?
Give them strawberries.
Give them strawberries.
Okay, that's healthy eating. That's one component. Yes. Okay.
How would you convince your friends? How would you convince your friends?
We play foursquare, we play cricket, we play soccer.
Yeah.
We used to play tetherball, but now the tetherball is gone.
Because too many kids got whacked in the face because kids are not being careful.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
So you have to be a little bit more safe, but Mia, what do you think about yourself and people at your age group? What could you do to encourage and inspire them? So I'm going to give you a charge here. I'm going to ask you to be a fitness advocate. So as this new fitness advocate, what would you do to encourage people that you come in contact with to be more physically active?
Everybody, all my friends already, like run around and like we almost never sit down straight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my friends don't want to do anything at recess or lunch, but just sit down.
Right.
Well-
So maybe you can inspire them. And all it takes is you and another friend, because people might say, well, it looks like they're having a good time and they're staying fit. So maybe if you have a great friend that you enjoy their company, that you could say, let's walk around instead of just sitting here. Let's keep moving. And maybe other kids will follow your example.
I have another friend, and she, whenever I see her, like today I was playing with her at lunch, and then we were at the playground and we were standing somewhere, and then she's like, let's walk around the school and talk. So she
There
said,
you go.
so I do that with my friends too. I ask them, should we walk around the school and talk? And she said that, and she also says that to some of them sometimes.
And guess what? Guess who used to do that? There is a US president who's very, very famous for doing that. So I'll give you two chances to think about who it could be.
Right.
And I'm going to go back. So this president, this was between 19, say 52 and 1945.
Eh? President Bush?
President George
No.
Washington?
No, one more guess.
For each of us, one more guess for each of us. You give both of us two guesses.
Okay, so guess.
I don't know.
I give a guess to
1940.
Mommy.
No, you gotta guess.
1940.
But I wasn't alive then. Me neither.
I know, but just by looking and studying the presidents, you might have come across this. Maybe you haven't, but so it was President Harry Truman. So President Harry Truman used to have something called walk and talk. And what he would do is during tough times with congressmen or people that were in his cabinet, he would say, let's walk and talk. And since he was a walker, he was really prepared for this. He would be in a suit and these leather shoes and he'd be walking really fast. Well, a lot of folks weren't prepared for that. They weren't ready for that. And he would say, oh, I feel sorry for you. Are you okay? You can't keep up with me. We'll slow down. And because the news crews, people with cameras and reporters would follow them, no one wanted to be embarrassed. So they would stick it out with him and walk fast as they could. But he became known for being a walker and a talker. And that was one way that he would settle problems and disputes, by walking and talking.
But you know what? I mean, to your point, Neil, when you're saying that all of my friends play and are active, I think that that's something that's really commendable because, you know, you kind of all inspire each other already.
Except when they're at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they can make it back to their house, they play Nintendo.
So as we were talking about the schools and how I know you talk to schools, do you ever follow up with them to find out the impact you've made with your work with them? And do you have any stories to share?
Sure, great question. So I have a group that there's a teacher, Miss Amy Hathaway, and she's in Missouri, and she has a group of kindergartens first grade students, and they do something called the daily mile. And the daily mile is where they walk a mile every single day. And it's outside, but they walk outside where they see nature happening. So depending on the weather, as long as the weather permits, they might see snow, they might see some rain, they might see insects, they might see flowers, they see sunshine, they see clouds. But what she found is that the students, they are more descriptive the longer that this walk and talk happens. So maybe the first week of school, they might just say it's sunny outside. Well, by the second, third, or fourth week, they're giving more detail to this. And they also are talking more about the students they walk with. So if one student's not feeling well or is not acting themselves, they might say, Miss Amy, so-and-so doesn't feel good today, or they're acting different. You might want to check on them, because now that social connection happens, so they know how someone acts most days of the week. If they're acting a little bit differently, they can alert the teacher that there might be an issue. And I think that's just great that these kids at this young age are so in tune to their classmates that they're willing to bring that to the attention of the teacher if they think there might be a problem.
We're going to do some trivia questions. Okay, ready? All right, so let's see who can get these answers right. Okay, so my first question is, what is multiple choice? So what is the largest organ in the human body? So A is liver, B is brain, C is skin, and D is lungs.
I like brain, skin.
Okay, so write it quietly so that nobody knows the answer. And let me know when you're ready.
I can play it on my...
Done.
All right. Okay, do you want to show me your answers? You have to show it on the screen.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So Maya says
skin. Organ.
Neal says skin. All right. And Rob says skin. Okay, everybody got it right.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So the next question is, what number is closest to the average life expectancy in the U.S. in 2024? A is 75 years, B is 80 years, C is 85 years, and D is 90 years.
Is that for a man or a woman?
It's overall.
Okay, so can you give me the first two again?
75 years, 80 years, 85 years, and 90 years.
I'll give you my answer. 80.
That's not fair. You're cheating.
I'm not cheating. Am I cheating? It's just my guess.
You're mine with the answer.
Oh, because she's writing in her answer.
I already knew I was gonna write 80. I knew I was gonna write 80. He didn't tell me. He did not tell me, Mom. He didn't.
Okay.
No.
All right. Well, let's see. What's everyone's answer?
It's this.
All right. So the correct answer is 80 years. No, it's 80. Maybe
That's why I asked for men or women, because for men, it's like between 75 and 77, depending on the community.
yeah, it depends on the community. All right.
My great grandma lived to be 100.
Mhm.
Oh,
Birthday was last
Okay.
year.
good for you. That means you have strong genes.
Okay, so last question. All right. So, which state does not require physical education in school at every grade level K through 12? So, Mississippi, Illinois, Arizona, or New York?
I thought Texas was gonna be one of them.
I deliberately did not put Texas on there.
Why? The Arizona.
Neal,
Why is
blurt out your answer.
I'm done.
All right.
They can't exercise.
Okay,
in
what's
their
your
air.
answer?
It's Arizona.
Mississippi.
New York.
Arizona.
Oh.
All right, Neal is correct. So Arizona is the only school out of those those states that does not have physical education requirement at every grade level K through 12.
What is a way that we can connect with other kids and adults to help them become healthier?
Maybe the best way is through the people in your community. So if it's through your church, through your school, if you're a Boy Scout, Cub Scout, Girl Scout, if you're on a team like your volleyball teams or soccer teams, that would be the best way. But through social media, if you have your own social media accounts, or if the Wellness Wizards have a social media page, you can reach out to other kids throughout the world, actually, and start asking them what they do where they live, and start having this dialogue back and forth between kids from Africa and Asia and here in the US, and just sharing your experiences about the importance of physical activity and how each kid does something different, but they're all about the same, which is about moving, trying to be active and trying to stay engaged.
Yeah. And just kind of piggybacking off of that, how can we help you spread your message as well?
By having shows like this and interviewing more and more people, and maybe even start talking to politicians if they'll allow you to, where you can hear and share with them how important the work they do is, but how they can become allies and help support your message in promoting physical activity, because the healthier the citizens are, the better it will be for the politicians as well.
Okay. And what is your favorite workout routine or exercise that you would recommend, and why?
Most of mine has to do with weight training because I like weight training, but I think the favorite might be walking because it's so easy. It can be done anywhere. It can be done at different levels of intensity. And if you do it outside on the beach, if you do it in the mountains, if you do it on a treadmill, it's still moving. And for the most part, walking doesn't cost you anything. So I would say walking.
Okay.
Neal, do you want to ask a question?
You love cooking,
you
right?
had a question
Remember
about
the question you asked me yesterday? Remember what you asked me yesterday?
What
I
is
that.
your favorite healthy recipe?
My favorite recipe? Well, I don't really have a favorite recipe. My favorite food is pizza. So when I lived in Italy, I ate pizza so much, and I ate a lot of Italian food. I really like Italian cooking, but if I was to have to cook something, it would probably be like a real basic grilled chicken breast, probably with broccoli and rice or sweet potato, because I usually feel really good and energized after a meal like that, because I don't like to feel full and sluggish and stuffed. So I usually like to have something where I feel good and ready to move afterwards. And that kind of meal usually does it for me.
what's a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's just starting out their exercise journey, especially if they're a little bit older?
Right. So if they have never exercised before, sometimes that's easier. If you have exercised in the past, don't compare yourself to what you did when you were 18 or 20 or 30. Take it day by day. Do what you can so that you don't injure yourself. Do what you can so that the next day you're able to get up and do another day. Every day, take one more step. And then by the end of that month, you have accumulated a lot more steps. And at the end of 6 months, you've done a huge amount of steps. So just take your time. Don't compare yourself to others. When it comes to social media, don't look at those routines, because what everyone does on social media is they give you the best version of themselves, the best version of their photo, the best version of their food. They've edited, they've copied, they've sliced, they've diced, they've done all these other things to make that picture look that way. So take your time, have fun, make sure that the evidence or the information you're using is evidence-based. So you can go to like health.gov for information, cdc.gov for information, American Heart Association. Speak with your physicians. They can provide you the right resources, because often you get information that comes from companies that have a product to sell. So they might give you an exercise routine or a product to take. Well, they want you to buy their products. They want you to use their supplements. So they might tell you something that's not based in fact or evidence. So as much as possible, go to evidence-based research to follow routines and use the guidance that they'll provide you.
So that's really great advice, and thank you.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do some limericks. Have you ever seen that show, Wait, Don't Tell Me, or heard that show?
I have not.
Okay, so basically we're gonna give you a limerick, and you're gonna guess the very last word of the limerick. Okay?
I just have to tell you something. The
Yeah.
last word of the limerick is gonna rhyme with the first two sentences.
Okay. So and
Oh,
if you get two
and
out of three.
if you get 2 out of 3 of the questions correct, we will donate some money to your favorite charity, a charity of your choice.
Okay.
And I think that
Thank you.
you had identified that charity. Can you tell
Yes, the Fisher House Golf Foundation. We raise money for wounded troops and their families. So this is the Fisher House is a place that when wounded troops, when their families are waiting for them as they go through their operations or through their medical appointments, they often can't afford hotel rooms. And so what the Fisher House Foundation does, they build homes so that families can stay there free of charge, have food, have places to relax, have places to contemplate the things that they're going through without having to worry about anything. So we raise money for them throughout the year.
that's a good one. Okay, now I'm gonna start with my limerick. A jogger who ran with A jogger who ran with great flair decided to leap in the air, misjudged the terrain, fell flat in disdain. Now does yoga with extra.
And what was the last part? With
And
extra?
now does yoga with extra.
Do you want to read it again?
Yeah, I'll reread it.
Okay.
A jogger who ran with great flair decided to leap in the air, misjudged the terrain, fell flat in disdain. Now does yoga with extra.
I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry.
What's the word?
Care.
Care.
Chair. Oh, chair, care. I got it.
You
Got
did
it.
not get that one.
Okay, all right, let's go for the next one. Neal?
Mine.
Okay.
A master sergeant, so stern and wise, in the sky he rules the friendly skies. With a drill sergeant's tone, he commands from his throne. Even clouds straighten up when he...
When he... I don't know.
I thought it was dies, but it's flies.
Flies.
When
Gosh.
Sergeant so stern and wise in the sky, he rules the friendly skies. With a drill sergeant's tone, he commands from his throne. Even clouds straighten up when he flies.
Oh, great. Well, I found something I'm not good at right now. That's for sure.
All right.
I thought it's when
So we
he
have
dies.
we have one more. Okay, this one's mine. The Council on Sports, so they say, met for fitness and fun every day, but their nutrition plan was a pizza kebab clan. Now they race to the fridge. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Yes.
Yes, you got it.
Oh,
Okay. So we're still gonna donate to
oh,
your
thank
cause.
you.
Thank you so much for playing. And
Right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And Mia and Neal, what you're doing here is really important. I think that it takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of patience to do what you're doing because talking to people you don't know is kind of difficult. So you're already showing leadership and you're showing creativity and you're thinking on your feet. So these are all lessons that will take you far in life. And so I think I would encourage you to keep doing it. Your skills are going to get better and better. And be happy that your parents support you in this endeavor. That's really, really important. And keep moving, keep exercising, keep inspiring others. And from time to time, let's check in just to see how you're doing. So thanks again for the opportunity.
yes, thank you so much for being on our interview. We really, really appreciate you and all of the work that you do. And hopefully we'll be able to talk again soon.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. Remember to please subscribe, click the like, and comment down below. And remember to please share with 3 friends so our podcast can reach more people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
And don't share with the friends.
Wellness Wizards. Great job.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.